I'm Realtor Deb Tomorrow, and this is At Home in Bloomington, brought to you by Karen Rastel, Ruoff Home Mortgage. We profile the people, places, and resources that make Bloomington, Bloomington, and help you live your best life. At Home in Bloomington.
Hello, and welcome to At Home in Bloomington. I am your host, Realtor Deb Tomorrow, and I have a little bit of a cold, so I'm just going to throw that out there because I'm insecure about I sound a little weird.
We'll have to not talk so close to each other then. Otherwise, then I may catch it just
I know.
through.
I think I'm on the tail end, but
okay.
Like I said, I was at a listing appointment a few days ago, and my sweet client had a 1-week-old baby in her arms and a 2-year-old who wanted a lot of attention and was willing to settle for attention by me instead of mom. And so I was trying to help mom out and give her a break. And she wanted me to pick her up, and I picked her up, and then she wanted to give me a kiss on the cheek, which I thought was so sweet, because this is just the cutest little girl. Her name's Hazel. And the kiss turned into a cough, and she coughed on me.
Yeah.
And then I thought, I'm done for it.
See, I am that way around babies and young kids, and you're probably like that around dogs. You know what I mean? And I'm like, oh my gosh, let me hold that baby. Like, if it's okay. I don't want to be that creepy person that wants to come and just take your baby and hold it. But...
I wasn't about to, a 1-week-old baby I have total respect for. Like, I don't need to be holding that. But a 2-year-old who's like once up in my arms, I'm like, all right, I can do that. And she is super cute. And it was a sweet little kiss, but the cough, not so much. But anyways, all right, that's my excuse. So the voice you're hearing, if you don't recognize it, is Miss Karen Rastel, who is the best gem lender in the state of Indiana. And she is our show's sponsor with Ruoff Home Mortgage. Thanks for coming back.
Yeah, it's been a great hiatus.
Yeah.
Quite a small one.
Yeah. Yep. So we are back at it, and we are doing the same thing, which is Karen has no idea who our guest is.
No clue.
Which is solely for my amusement.
That's true too.
So
Rachel's.
Yeah. So
in Rachel's.
If you have listened to the other shows, I sat as I was preparing for the show, and I thought, should we do something different? And I thought, nope, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to give Karen some hints. She's not going to be able to figure out who the guest is.
Yeah. I usually, though, as the conversation continues, I've not had a topic or a guest where I don't understand what we're talking about. So
you always know.
That's my biggest fear is like, oh my gosh, you're going to have someone on here and I'm going to be clueless on the topic. And
right, we're going to talk about like genetics, something or whatever, science,
yes.
And then we're both going to be clueless. Well, see, that's the beauty of it because you and I are on the same wavelength. I'm not going to bring on a guest that
I appreciate that.
I wouldn't know.
I appreciate that.
So I usually try to give you hints, but my hints are always so vague. That you usually have no clue what I'm talking about. Yeah. Viscosity tubes.
Correct. Yeah.
Get a prize for whoever can remember that show. So there's no reason to change any of that now. So you ready for your clues?
I am ready.
Okay. Clue number 1. This is a place you've probably been.
Sure.
Okay. Right?
So, yeah.
Probably.
Sure. I'm going to say yes.
But it has more than you think. That's a little riddle-ish. I mean, You're not going to get it from that.
No, but my first thought, I'll save that. My first thought, sorry, go ahead. My first thought was Rural King. I know that sounds silly in the context here, but
have you been taking your Rural King dog to the Rural King a lot?
Yes.
A lot of people
I've never
do that.
been in there until we had the dog, and it's like you can find everything in there. But go ahead.
Okay,
proceed.
It's okay. Number 3, clue number 3. This has been around since 1880.
Okay.
Which is like, think about that. That's crazy.
That is crazy.
All right. Okay, you can almost see it out your window here at Ruoff Home Mortgage Studios.
Okay.
Number 5, our guest's name is Vickie, and if you listen to local radio much, you might recognize her voice, but she's not a DJ.
Okay.
No?
No.
All right, number 6, I'm going to ask Vickie to share with us something that she
I
typically says.
Like 10 clues.
No, it's only number 6. Okay. Something she typically says on the radio.
Okay.
All right. Typically, I will say locally owned and operated by the same family since 1928.
Does it sound familiar?
It does. But I'm scared that if I say, I feel like it's for an... No, I'm not going to say that. No.
No?
And I don't have a DJ voice.
No.
For sure.
All right.
No.
Give up?
I do give up. Because I'm sitting here trying to think of things with the university because, I don't know.
Because of the age, right?
Yeah.
Because it's been around for so long. All right. Cat's out of the bag. This is Vickie Temple Davison from Bloomington Hardware.
Okay. Now
just around the corner.
Just around the corner. Okay, you're right. I could possibly see it.
Yeah,
here.
If we stretch your neck enough. So I want to start with the history because I'm absolutely fascinated. I know I said it's been around since 1880. You're saying it's been in the same family since 1929. Is that right?
28.
28. Okay.
Yeah.
So talk to me a little bit about just the history. I don't even know where to start, but I'm absolutely fascinated by a business that has hung in there for 139 years because how many of those are there around?
Well, first off, hardware stores have been around communities, and it's not just Bloomington, but all local communities for a long time. In Bloomington actually supports local businesses, so I think we've got a leg up on a lot of other communities. But it's also that famous adage of change or die. So in 1928, Great-Grandpa Temple rode the train up from English, Indiana, because my father-in-law, his son, was coming to, I think it was the seminary. It wasn't Indiana University at that time. Took the train up, went to visit his friend from English, who was a banker, asked if there were any businesses in town for sale because he was going to move the family all the way up from English, Indiana. Boy, did we ever take things for granted.
Right. English is what, 50 miles maybe?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. They put on their hats, their gloves, their little walking canes, went down half a block and talked to the then owners. I think it was the Prince family owned Bloomington Hardware at that time.
It was on the square?
South side of the square at 105 West Kirkwood. I think Game Preserve is in there now.
Oh, okay.
And they struck a deal. He went back, got on the train, started packing up the family, moved there in 1928. My father-in-law started school, and when he got out of IU, which I don't think it would have been IS, but when he graduated, he joined the business. His brother, who was 20 years younger, then joined the business, and then my husband joined the business and bought out his uncle. So it was John Tyler Temple, then it was Hugh Temple, Bob Temple came into the business, and then my husband was John Charles Temple. He bought his uncle out and was partners with his father, Hugh Temple.
Okay.
Hugh retired when grandchildren started coming along and computers started coming along. And John got a little stronger in the business and said, I'm running it. Fast forward to the early 80s, downtown. I mean, we are blessed with a great downtown right now.
For sure.
It was not a great downtown. No. It was dying. There were a lot of empty stores. We started looking, I should say John started looking for business partners and also for a location to build the new store.
Okay.
We called it the fireplace shop. We did wood stoves, fireplace inserts. Energy costs were horrible then.
Yeah.
Not that they're better now, but a lot of people were converting their fireplaces. So we had a location in the downtown area, but it was too small for us to move the business to. Short story, he couldn't find, it was early 80s. Nobody would go into business with him. I had a home that I owned before we got married. I had my AT&T stock, my Indiana Bell stock, my 401k. I had savings bonds. I believed in his dream. I cashed in everything and bought into the business. And we relocated at the corner of College Mall Road and Covenanter Drive.
In the 80s?
In the 80s. We actually took a while to kind of get funding and financing, and we were the last SBA loan that was done on leased ground.
Oh, wow.
They, as I understand, they have just started doing loans on leased ground again.
Yeah.
But there were a lot of things that we were really lucky on.
Yeah.
At that point in time, let's see, we broke ground in June of 85. We had our daughter in September of 85, and then we opened in November of 85. And then in 1986, we found that we really couldn't keep this. The grand plan had been to have 2 locations, a downtown store and then an east side store. Downtown, Bill and Gail Cook are just wonderful. They came in and invested so much time, energy, the entire downtown area. Go downtown any place in southern Indiana or probably in the Midwest. Downtowns are not as vibrant as ours are.
Yeah, I always like to remind people that there was talk in the 80s of tearing down the courthouse to put in a parking lot. I was involved with local nonprofit Bloomington Restorations for quite some time, and that was really kind of what got Bloomington Restoration started, was this movement of you can't tear down this courthouse. And
can't imagine not having it in the center of town.
You could have, the way that it was, because it was in such disrepair. I mean, it is gorgeous. It is absolutely gorgeous. And you look at so many of the, I love architecture. So when I look at what's been done in the downtown area, it's amazing. Yeah. It really is.
And I think Karen and I both first really came to Bloomington in the early 90s. So a lot of that had already, taken place and been saved. So you've been on the east side since mid-'80s, but you've recently renovated. Is that your first major renovation, or had you done, has the shop changed over the years?
We've done quite a few renovations. John died in 91. He had leukemia, and so I had to quit my full-time job with the phone company. He got his wish. He always said, you love customers, you're a problem solver. That's kind of how we got to know each other, because I kept going into the hardware store and was working on crazy projects like taking apart windows and putting the rope back in for old sash windows, or knob and tube wiring and replacing that, or tearing apart plumbing. All those things that when you have problems in your life, tear something apart and put it back together again.
And you did it before YouTube. Everybody these days is like, I'm just going to figure it out from YouTube. And I know that's done in my household a lot. And now we just are like, have you YouTubed it? But you were probably going to the library and getting some books and trying to figure it out?
No, I was doing kind of what I hope people do now. I kept going into the hardware store.
Okay.
I worked downtown at the time. And the hardware store was downtown, so on lunch hour, I would go down to Hayes Market, pick up my grocery store. I would go to the hardware store and talk to the guys there and try and figure out whatever my latest project was, whatever I had enough money to do. So it was like, okay, when payday comes, this is what I'm budgeted for and what I need to do.
And so that's something that you want people to still come into the store and do.
Face it, whether you're renting or you own, your largest check that you write every month is for your home. And making your home your own is really important. I mean, sometimes it's decorating it and choosing a paint color, but a lot of times it's, oh my God, I got this water bill. What do I do?
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, let's look at the toilet. Is it leaking? Do I have a faucet that's dripping? Plumbers and electricians are very valuable, and they're very hard to get on their list for them to come out.
Especially in August.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yes, exactly. We all know the way that Bloomington turns. Yep. But there are little things that anybody can do themselves.
I had someone come up to me a few months ago, and someone I really respect, and she knows I'm always looking for new and interesting ways to market my business and create value for people. She goes, you need to do like a homeowner or a home buyer boot camp where you just teach them how to do some of the simple things that everybody needs to be able to know how to do. whether that's like switching out light fixtures or switch plates or, fixing that dang flapper so that your toilet stops running. I mean, everybody should be able, it's pretty simple.
Yeah.
Everybody should be able to do that.
It's such a great feeling.
Yeah.
Because there are so many problems in the world that we can't solve.
Yeah.
So if we can sometimes do those little things, it's like, yes, I got something done.
Yeah. And yet, I can tell you from a realtor's perspective how important it is to do it correctly, because I've also seen a lot of, I had a home inspection report recently, and I don't know, I didn't know the home inspector. He wasn't one on my normal list, but he was like, everything in the report was homeowner done. It looked like it was homeowner done. And I was like, that's a little insulting, but, he just felt like all the carpentry work, the corners didn't match exactly and, and whatever. And so you could tell, and it can come back to bite you if you don't do it correctly. And certainly electrical.
Well, and some of that, when you're mitering corners and putting up trim, you might be a little bit off.
Yeah.
But that's what they make wood putty for.
Right, exactly.
And getting the right wood putty, then you can stain it or you can paint it.
Yes.
And filling those holes.
Right.
Those are things that you can do.
That is the best tip you'll hear all year. Because I see this all the time in homes, and it's especially like white painted trim. You can fill that in when it doesn't meet the wall exactly, or it doesn't meet the other piece, and it looks so beautifully finished. I just had a home where they had all the trim painted, and they did some stairs and stuff, and I was walking through, and your eye goes, especially with white trim, it goes to those gaps, and it just, it looks so good. So there are solutions to that. If you're looking at something, you're doing a home project, and you're looking at something, and you're like, something doesn't quite look right. The beauty of today is you've got cell phone, take some pictures, go into Bloomington Hardware and say, something doesn't look right. Help me fix it.
Well, see, I think I would trust someone that works at the local hardware store to help me find that solution than I would a big box store, that has multiple employees and they work in that section of the store. I don't know. You know what I mean? I would rather, like you said, either take that picture or, I know my husband doesn't listen to the podcast, but he tries to do a lot of things on his own. And it's like, you should just go and ask a professional, like ask someone who actually knows how to do some of those things.
So how do your employees get that knowledge?
Well, thank you, Karen. That is actually, I am blessed with, just like customers coming in that kind of come to us. Same thing with employees. We will have people that they do have that knowledge, or maybe they want to learn that knowledge. So we draw the people, knock on wood, and we're always taking applications, and we try to find that person that will listen, will help, and will give the right advice. Holiday time, when people are decorating, people will be putting lights outside their house. I don't know one single person that hasn't made this mistake where they put the lights on the tree or the shrub and then, oh my gosh, I've got the male end sticking out or the female end, so they can't plug in. So it's, we joke with people, and we'll have customers that come in and say, I need that adapter.
Yeah.
And you just have to joke with them and say, there's not that adapter, and I've actually, remind employees, we don't make that adapter, because if you have a male-to-male adapter, it will plug into the outlet or the female end on your extension cord, but it's putting electricity out there where a person could touch it, a pet could touch it, a tree limb could touch it, and you could cause a fire.
Yeah.
So it's kind of one of those, sometimes you help people and you make a sale. Sometimes you help customers and all you do is educate them.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm going to be looking at how Tony hangs the lights this year, for sure.
They're not still up?
No.
Take them down? That's good.
But my tree is still up.
So I had somebody plugged in their lights at the 4th of July.
Nice.
They were like, hey, we're festive. We're going to plug them in for 4th of July.
And this is why we keep Christmas lights out year long.
Oh, interesting.
Because people may be going, decorating their patio, decorating the dorm room.
Right.
Maybe they're, they going to a camping site and they're wanting to decorate their, RV.
Nice.
You need them year round.
Awesome.
And the answer is, do not take all of the lights off of the tree or the shrub. use a green extension cord. That way you'll get to where that male end, and you can usually just go up the trunk of your tree, plug that in. It's going to be a cord that's rated for outdoors, so you don't run into problems. It's heavy enough that it can handle the wattage on all of the lights, though LED lights use a lot less wattage. And then you'll be ready, and you'll be safe.
Awesome. We always joke, if you're making like a plumbing repair, how many trips to the hardware store do you need?
Minimum 3.
Minimum 3, right? Exactly. So don't feel bad.
And that's for professionals as well as us amateurs.
Right? And, and it's funny because you probably you see them come in again. They're there again. All right.
You have to joke with people on plumbing because plumbing is so stressful.
And it's a little bit trial and error because those drips just, in my house, we're like, nope, we're just going to call a plumber. We're not going to do all that anymore because it's just caused so much stress to, you think you've got it and then you come back and there's a little tiny drip.
And we're in Monroe County. There's, that beautiful limestone. That lime is in the water.
Yeah.
So when you turn off your supply line, take apart your sink or your toilet, and then you turn it back on, it's kind of like a carotid artery. All that lime and calcium loosens up, and you'll go, oh my gosh, I still have the drip.
Yeah.
So I always joke with people that before you put everything back together, turn the water on a little bit, so hopefully you're flushing that lime out of the line, because it'll just clog everything up.
Yeah, it's rough. Yeah, for sure. All right, we're going to take a break, and we come back. I want to talk a little bit more about all of the different services and things that are offered, and hopefully you'll maybe tell us some secret things that people don't know that you offer that you can take advantage of. So we're talking with Vickie from Bloomington Hardware. Stick around. You're at home in Bloomington.
Hi, this is Karen Rastel with Ruoff Home Mortgage. Did you know we are on the cutting edge of technology when it comes to applying for a mortgage? Loan Butler was created with you in mind. It's a fast, convenient, and secure way to apply online for a mortgage loan. It reduces the amount of paperwork and time for you. Save a tree and contact me today at 812-606-7653 for more details. Ruoff Home Mortgage is an Indiana corporation licensed by the Indiana Department of Financial Institutions. This is not an offer for extension of credit or a commitment to lend. All loans must satisfy company underwriting guidelines. Equal housing lender. NMLS number 141868.
This is your Real Estate Realist, real advice on buying and selling real estate based on my experience closing over 800 home sales. Today's list is my top websites for home buyers and sellers. There are tons of resources out there, but which ones are accurate and actually helpful? Number 1, homefinder.org. This is the local realtor database of homes for sale. You can't search for homes in Costa Rica or London in here like you can on Zillow, but homefinder.org is the most up-to-date and accurate database for Monroe, Greene, and Owen counties. It even tells you if a home already has an accepted offer. Most other websites don't. Number 2, bankrate.com, or more specifically, bankrate.com/calculators. Here you'll find over 50 different calculators from mortgage payments to retirement savings, all important in planning out your finances. Wondering how long it might take you to pay off your student loan so you can afford more house? There's a calculator for that. How long will it take for you to pay off your car if you pay an extra $100 a month? There's a calculator for that. This is my idea of Friday night fun. Number 3, annualcreditreport.com. You can pull your credit report once a year for each of the 3 credit bureaus at no cost. So best practice is to pull it every 4 months from a different credit bureau. Annualcreditreport.com is the place to go. Take a quick look over your report regularly. Make sure there are no errors. Use it to strategize how to improve your credit. Protect your identity by making sure no unauthorized accounts have been opened. Keeping your credit report clean will help you move quickly when you find your dream home. And number 4, realrealestatetoday.com. Of course. My website has links to all my podcasts designed to educate you to be the smartest home buyer or seller you can be. For more of my top websites for home buyers and sellers, check out my Real Real Estate Today podcast, episode 14 on iTunes, YouTube, and all your favorite podcast sites.
My name is Donna, and my realtor is Deb Tomorrow. When it comes time to buy or sell a home, she is the obvious choice. Deb is not your average realtor. She stands beside you all the way, before, during, and after your real estate transactions. Deb is passionate about real estate, and it shows. So just do it. Choose Deb. Now back to the show.
Welcome back to At Home in Bloomington. Before we get back to our guest, Vickie from Bloomington Hardware, I do want to give a shout out to a past guest, which is episode 28, Bloomington Canine Services. We had on the owner, Emily Herr, who's a professionally certified trainer, and she also does amazing work at the Monroe County Shelter, Animal Shelter. She's been coming to my house to help train my dogs. And she's also helped me assess a foster dog that I just had. I know we were talking about that a little bit during the break. So I want to talk about it for just a second because, when you work with foster dogs, if anyone's interested, follow me on Facebook because we talk about this a lot. Silver Linings Rescue is an organization I'm involved with, and we're always looking for fosters. And it can be short-term, like with the Nelson situation. The dog's name was Nelson. I don't think I said that. We just needed kind of an emergency. We needed to get him someplace safe right away. But then we needed to be able to catch our breath and assess him and figure out what's the best home for him to go to. And that took about 2 weeks. And then we were able to find him a new home with a pool and a big screen TV. So I saw pictures. Last night was his first night, and he was very, very happy. But we were able to find the right match. So that increases the chances of success for everyone. So fosters are really, really important. And Emily was just a saint. The first couple of days that we had Nelson in the home, because I have 3 dogs that are very hyper, and Nelson came from a house with no other dogs, not a lot of interaction with other dogs. He was stressed. We were stressed. I called Emily. I said, oh my gosh, come help me. Just to assess and kind of probably reassure me more than anyone that this dog is worth saving. This dog is a good dog, and here's what he needs to be comfortable and to be a good member of the family. So I want to thank her for that, and I want to encourage everyone to follow Bloomington Canine Services on Facebook and bloomingtoncanineservices.com for more information on that, and listen to our show, which was episode 28. So we are back from our break, and we were talking about dogs the whole time during break because Vickie is a dog lover as well.
Yeah, we all love animals.
And that's awesome. I want to talk about, you do some events that are fundraisers for different organizations in the community. And so we have a break. We're like, oh, well, maybe we need a partner and do an event. So maybe you'll see something coming up with the Silver Linings Rescue. But what are some of the other events that you like doing? Because there are some animal-friendly events that you do.
Yes. Well, CASA is near and dear to our heart. That is a group that I had not been aware of. CASA has done a playhouse that was built by local builders for years. That was their fundraiser. That would be at the farmer's market. That would be at the hardware store. We sold tickets. They've had some beautiful quilts. We've had that at the hardware store, sold tickets. Great. CASA, if you don't know,
they're a past guest.
They're a great organization. Silver Linings, we have got to figure out a way to partner.
We'll take you up on that.
I think we need to get the word out, and I think that there are expenses that need to be helped with.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think Silver Linings is good.
Well, we appreciate that.
We're a real pet-friendly store, so I think it's a natural fit.
So people could bring their dogs in?
Oh, yes. We do ask that they be on a leash because we've had to clean up some messes.
Sure.
And
that they be relatively behaved.
Yeah, I'll bring mine in a few more years. We've got to give her some time.
We have an awful lot of people that they bring their pet in, and because we're pet friendly, we're kind of a training area because I don't know anybody at the hardware store that doesn't like pets. My daughter, who is our store manager and who will be the next generation to own the hardware store, actually picked up her new dog today. And when she comes back from vacation, we'll be bringing it. So we will have a store dog for a while while she works training it. Probably our big fundraiser that we do, unfortunately, Kids Do Matter, which helps foster kids, is temporarily disbanded. I think that was because it helps foster kids, I think is important. But every spring and every fall, we do an event, we host an event for the Sassafras Audubon Society. Another great group in Bloomington that if you're not familiar with our local Audubon Society, they have trips and tours all over the place, which are kind of nice to get out in the community. They sponsor a lot of educational programs, both with the local schools, with Hilltop. And every spring and every fall, they come in actually people can drop off their bird feeders Friday. They clean bird feeders all day. Saturday, people pay money to $4 for a small feeder, $6 for a large, so that it's clean and protected. By steam cleaning and pressure washing, it prevents the spread of avian diseases, salmonella, conjunctivitis.
Okay, I want to make sure I'm following this. Is that if I had a bird feeder, I bring that one in, they will
clean it, and then you come back and pick it up. And then you pay a nominal fee for the service, and that's a donation. Yeah, and you're really good about keeping your signboard outside on the road up to date, because I drive up now College Mall Road all the time. I'm like, what's going on at Bloomington Hardware today? And you can read it on the board. And then Facebook as well. You guys have a very active Facebook and Twitter as well.
Thank you. So my daughter does that. Christy does a great job.
Yeah, she does.
But yes, the fundraiser for Audubon Society is great. And then I'll tell you what, almost any school kid, whether it's the elementary schools and we're helping with a painting project they're doing, whether it's their, any of their fundraisers, the soccer team, the volleyball team, Optimist Club, we do, we list in their programs, and a lot of the groups will actually come and we do a cookout fundraiser where they will come. It's kind of a nice team building thing because they will come, we provide the grills and the trash cans, and if they need it, tables. The moms and dads will come, And
this is all
at the hardware
store. In the parking lot. Okay.
Yes. And it's one of those, you talk about the road sign. People will set up right there at the corner of College Mall Road and Covenanter, so it's really visible. It's
a great location.
Some of the groups have been doing it, but Science Olympiad, they've probably been doing it for 4 or 5 years. They not only make a couple, maybe $1,000, but they'll make, because Bloomington is such a wealth of neat people, they will make contacts. We've had people that have worked at Crane, and they're like, oh, hey, here's my contact information.
Right, I'm an engineer, I can help you do XYZ.
Exactly. And when you look at what the kids in Bloomington have done, from elementary to high school, it's money well invested when we're helping our children.
And what's nice too is that because you're local, they can just, if anybody is interested in partnering with you, they can just walk into the store and start asking questions. It doesn't have to go to some random corporate person in another state, and try and get approval or whatever. And so it's a lot easier to partner and get things done.
Our word is yes. Not no. We've had Boy Scout troops that for Pinewood Derby actually had like a race car, sprint car come, and it sat there. So it was trying to get kids to be thinking about Pinewood Derby. Oh, I mean, it just, no idea is a bad idea.
Right. Yeah. So let's talk about some of the services that you offer aside from just, going in and buying things. There are services that I think a lot of people, we had another Karen moment where she was like, well, wait a minute, I need this. So lamp repair was one of the things that I thought was really interesting. I think, you had mentioned over the break that, reduce, reuse, recycle, and repurpose really resonates with you.
Isn't that kind of what all of us should be doing?
Absolutely.
And I think that's what a hardware store helps with. Recycle. We recycle. We actually, I think, were maybe one of the first people that got the Monroe County Green Business Award because we are really committed to recycling and reusing. We have a display we don't use. We try to find a nonprofit or somebody that can use it, not put it in the dumpster. Repairing, that's a hardware store thing. Oh, the cord's bad on the vacuum on the lamp. We sell all kinds of plugs. But repurpose. How many old flower pots you can paint them and make them into a pencil holder. Right. Or like Rachel and I were talking about, take them and use them to plant with.
Yeah, I love this idea. You were talking about that you've had some flower pots that have maybe frozen and the bottom sort of fallen out. And you can still use that pot to plant something in the ground, but it contains. So like an Indiana mint is one of the things that can spread like crazy, but people love to have mint in their yard. And so planting it within a pot that doesn't have a bottom in the ground, does that make sense?
Yeah.
It can kind of keep it contained and still give that item purpose.
So we encourage that. We have a lot of people that come in. People can be successful on any kind of project. Sometimes they just need that thinking outside of the box. Or, I guess maybe we're a no fear zone. There are no dumb questions, so
That's
we try to help people.
Yeah.
And then we carry an incredible amount of lamp parts. Mm-hmm. So one of the things that we, and we buy from larger groups. We buy through True Value. We buy through Orgel Brothers. We've got a couple suppliers, and then we deal direct with a lot of manufacturers, kind of like Great Grandpa and Pop Temple did in years past. So we have unique lamp parts that we will sell to customers, but also the people that don't feel comfortable about repairing their own lamp. People can bring in their lamp. We will repair it. People bring in their screens, and yes, we sell the tools and the spline and the screening material, but a lot of times people don't have the time.
Yeah.
Or maybe they're painting their house, and they're like, okay, let's take all the screens down. Here's all of the screens. Will you please just fix them? So we do that. And then sharpening knives.
Which is huge.
You spend so much money on a good knife, and then it loses that edge.
Karen's laughing at me because I am obsessed with knife sharpening. Like, I just feel like my knives are never sharp enough. And when you cut with a really sharp knife, it's life-changing, people, I tell you.
Yes. You got to remember, though, I don't do the cooking in my house,
true.
So my husband does. But, when you were talking about that before, and you were like, there's a knife guy, and, and I'll take my knife, and I'm like, I just don't have a sleeve of knives or whatever it's called that I don't know. Maybe I should take our whole block of knives and go, just have them sharpened. But
that's the way to do it too, because we have an hourly rate. We charge for half an hour up front. So don't bring in one knife. I'm like you, Karen. I can cook, but my husband does the cooking. Yeah. And his thing is, always keep the knife sharp, because you will get cut with a dull knife. Yep. You don't get cut with a sharp knife because you're more careful with it, and it does its job. You're not having to put extra pressure.
Yeah.
And finagle to get it go through.
So I'm gonna bring my knives.
I need to bring mine. I need to bring mine too. Let's see, what else do you have? Do you have any glass that needs to be cut?
Yep.
Do you have any paint that needs to be matched? We've talked about this before.
No, well, paint. But going back to the glass, I do. I'm a consumer of wine. Yeah. So I have a lot of wine bottles that we recycle all the time. I mean, that's pretty much what we're taking down there, are wine bottles and cardboard to the recycling center. But I've always thought, what can I do with these wine bottles? And I saw like a hack or something that Indianapolis news station tried. I tried that. Didn't work for me. So
what did they do? Cut it?
They did something, where it supposedly was supposed to just, and it would just do a nice cut, and then you could maybe repurpose that for outdoor candles or something like. I tried it just for fun because I really liked the label of one of the wine bottles and the color of the glass, the blue or the green. Yeah.
But Bloomington Hardware might have some glass cutting tools.
I know they could.
That could.
And it sounds like a job for Dremel. Dremel is amazing tools. Everything from, we were talking about dogs. They work great on dogs' nails.
Nails.
Yeah. They, a Dremel tool, because it's so fine and precision, you could probably cut. They probably have a grinder. It'll make the edge nice and smooth.
A little diamond
and I've seen wine bottles where they've taken and put like strings of lights in them. So if you do like the LED, even the battery operated, then that way, it'll just kind of shine and glimmer.
Yeah. That's a cute idea.
One of the things that I'll digress for a moment that I would love to see is somebody that recycled glass. In traveling to see my son in Montana, one of the places we stopped, they had taken glass. It was crushed into small pieces and tumbled so everything was smooth. It was the most beautiful mulch.
Oh, interesting.
And when you think about it, it would be a mulch that didn't rot, didn't decompose.
Right.
Cats probably wouldn't want to use it.
Probably.
But, I mean, it would.
Interesting.
Yeah.
We collect,
gorgeous.
We collect sea glass. So we go out to Maine every year, and we have a huge collection of sea glass, which is the tumbled glass. And we always talk about, because we have a little rock tumbler. It's like, I wonder if we could break something and, and tumble it. But I never thought about using it in place of, even on the top of plants or something, if you wanted to kind of cover up the soil and help control the moisture.
Actually, there's a product that we sell that is glass that has been crushed, tumbled. It's a byproduct of glass. And you can put it on the top of your plants, and it keeps gnats from making their eggs in the plants.
See, there you go.
So just
interesting.
Weird, new, and different.
Right?
Things.
No, that's what I want to talk about. So I do want to talk about, so we only have a couple minutes left, your kind of concept of everybody needs a toolbox and what should be in that toolbox. Because I think that, again, I work a lot of first-time home buyers, and I think, they probably, even as a renter, you need a toolbox. But what should be in that toolbox, and what are some tips that you have?
Well, the first tip is make sure anything that comes out of the toolbox goes back into it.
Because when you need that flathead screwdriver and you can't find it, the Phillips head ain't going to work.
Right. Easy to say, difficult to do. And, hindsight's always 20. We're going to lose that tool. Flathead, Phillips, Torx, screwdrivers are great. I like instead, there are multi-tools that will do that. So you'll have a screwdriver anywhere from a 4-to-1, 6-to-1. It'll have the different screwdriver bits that you need.
Oh, okay.
One tool that has everything.
But you have to put the bits back in the container when you're done.
Oh, no,
or you'll lose them.
That is a good concept. But they're not that expensive.
Yeah.
And we all know with tools, the problem with tools is finding them when you need them.
Yeah.
Have a hammer. Again, recycling, take that little jar that the olives came in and fill that up with your little tiny nails. Have another one that's all your picture hanging things. The sticky tack. A little roll of Teflon tape, because sometimes if you go to screw something in and it's like a little bit loose, wrap a little piece of Teflon tape around that, and it will.
Nice.
It'll hold it in.
And also for some of the dreaded plumbing leaks we were talking about earlier, the Teflon tape can make it. And you had a great tip that I had never really thought about, but that especially for I want to say women, but then it sounds like women are weaker than men, and we don't want to say that, right? But if you're not really strong, buying tools that have longer handles can help with leverage.
I'm 67. I know that I don't have the strength that I used to, but having a hammer that has a longer handle is nice if you need that strength. If you don't need the strength, go with the shorter hammer.
Yeah.
But same thing when you're thinking of like trimming your shrubs, get the long handle ones. You'll get a little bit more leverage.
Isn't that interesting? Because I would lean towards the dainty ones. I would think, I just want something light and dainty, but that's going to make my job more difficult potentially.
But the right tool for the job. I mean, that's the reason you kind of go down on the aisle where we have, shovels and rakes and all kinds of snippers and pruners. Some of them are delicate because maybe you're getting in and you're trimming.
Little bonsai tree kind of thing.
Bonsai tree, roses, deadheading. You want something that's small. You're not going to use your big.
Right.
But it's kind of like we were talking, plumbers, electricians, landscapers, they are all busy, and there are things that you can do yourself with the right tool.
Yeah. And I think the moral to the story is to go in and ask. Here's the job I need to undertake. Bring in some pictures, show them what you're trimming, and they'll help point you in the direction of the right tool. One of the things that I wanted to make sure that we touched on was weed control, because that is a nightmare in August and in the summertime in Indiana. We're recording this in August, so and you've got some products for that.
There are several things. I talk about the wiggle factor. If you use an organic or a more natural product, it will work, but it's the wiggle factor. Whether it's a bug or a weed, it may take a little bit longer for it to die. I whispered that word Roundup because I'm not there's a lot of people that want Roundup, but there are other products that you can use. We sell a vinegar solution, which, use your regular household vinegar for cleaning. It's a great cleaner. It's a great descaler. It's
pickles.
Pickles, yes.
Again, this time of year.
Yes, and canning vinegar is different than the cleaning vinegar. But this new, and we've looked for it for years and finally found it good. It's 20% vinegar solution, and it will kill weeds. So if you use that, it's going to be better for the environment.
Yeah. And I thought that was a great tip because I know we're always Googling and seeing things on Facebook and blogs about organic ways to kill weeds. And you see, pour boiling water on them and things like that. And you see vinegar as an option as well. And I think people get frustrated with it because it does take a while, but using the stronger strength of vinegar. So typically in a grocery store, you might have a 5% vinegar solution, and this is a 20%. So I'm excited to try that. And it is something new because I let people know about that.
It's also an example of how to reuse those spray bottles. Because when you have a spray bottle that you've used the product and you're kind of like, can't, you should recycle it.
Right.
But how about you reuse it, repurpose it? And we do sell an amazing amount of spray bottles. But again, if people just think, hey, can I use that for anything? Take your spray bottle, mix it with like a bleach and water solution. That is a great way to clean.
Yeah, absolutely. So one last question. Are there things, I know I've seen on your website that you can order things online and have them shipped directly to the store. So, and so that doesn't cost you any shipping. Are there things that are available online that aren't available in the store then, I guess?
There are. It kind of goes back to my previous comment about we buy through True Value. We buy through Orgel Brothers. We have some other suppliers that would have a warehouse that have multiple items. But there are so many things that we get direct. Bird seeds. We have a couple people that buy their 50-pound bags of nuts for feeding the birds, feeding the turkeys, feeding the deer. There are a lot of things. We would, again, no dumb questions. We have people that will come in, hey, I'm trying to do this. Old locks. We've been able to help people on that.
So prevalent around here with all the old homes, just trying to find the pieces and parts to put the lock back together.
And you can't believe how many different rakes there are. I mean, there are bamboo rakes, there are shrub rakes, there's some beautiful German-made tools. Yeah. Same thing with like saws. There's a pull saw that's they're beautiful, wonderful tools that we have access to.
Great.
So our website is bloomingtonhardware.com. That actually goes through True Value. So, we have close to 50,000 items in our store. There are hundreds of thousands of items on the True Value website. Those will end up, sometimes there'll be coupons. So I never hesitate to encourage people to go there.
Yeah.
The money that people would spend on that website does come to Bloomington Hardware, so it's not going to corporate America. Yeah. It's going to stay in the Bloomington community.
So before you go straight to Amazon for something, it's certainly worth a look on Bloomington Hardware. They can ship it straight to the store. You're out on the east side all the time, so you can swing by and pick it up, and there's no shipping.
And sometimes people will, because we all go to that little black box of knowledge.
Right.
People will find something and then they'll come in the store, and sometimes the price on the website is higher than what we have it in the store. Okay. Plus, a lot of times we'll have people that they're part of our loyalty program and they're wanting to use their loyalty coupons. So, that way.
Great. And one of the, I want to leave us on a recent addition that you had to the store, which is I've seen a lot of stuff on Facebook about grills. And I think that's part of this sort of new section you've got with some camping and boating supplies.
It's, as we say in life, change or die. Yeah. And we've remodeled several times over the year. It will be, change the computer system, move the shelves around. We took out all of the carpeting rather than replace it. took up all of the ceramic tiles. And because we have like the best group of people to work with in the world, when we were moving shelves around, everybody was saying, why do we want to put it back in the same place? How about we move this, move that? So we created an amazing amount of space. And my daughter Christy is one of the buyers at the store. And we had looked at other grill lines instead of Weber for years. And Traeger, she's big on grilling, and Traeger did not have anybody represented in Southern Indiana very solidly. We are an authorized Weber dealer. We do servicing, we do repair in Southern Indiana. We actually talked to Weber, before we went with Traeger because we wanted to be honest, open, ethical. Their feeling was, that is great. You will now be the grilling destination.
Sure.
Because a Traeger grill works completely different than a Weber grill. Just kind of like Weber will have gas and charcoal grills. They also have electric grills. But then Traeger is a different concept in grilling and smoking. And we haven't used the Traeger yet because it is a little bit more of a time commitment at times on grilling. So we haven't used that with any of the fundraisers. Usually with the groups that'll come in and use our grills for cooking, they're not using the Traeger. But we kind of on Facebook polled customers to see, was this something that they wanted? I don't want the salesman pitch saying, no, you need to have it in the hardware store. We need to make sure that we're satisfying the customers that come in the front door. And we had one guy that was just thrilled because he'd been going all the way to Greenwood to get his pellets. It's a pellet grill and it's electric. So you fill up a chamber with the pellets, and then there's an auger that moves that in. One of their sayings, which I kind of like, is if you're looking, you're not cooking, because you'll put whatever you're cooking on there, vegetables or meats, and you just walk away from it.
Wow. Well, I love that. And I want to leave on that note that think about this, how many of the big box stores are going to pull their customers and say, hey, what do you think about this grill? Do you think it's something we should carry? They're not. They've never asked me. So I appreciate that. And I want to just, congratulate you and your family on so many years of service and success. And I can't wait for the 100-year celebration. That's going to be a fun one, right? It's been in your family, you've got about 9 more years. So that's amazing. And we really appreciate the information you had today. And I want to encourage people to go to bloomingtonhardware.com and also follow them on Facebook and Twitter, because there's always stuff going on. And hopefully you'll see maybe a fundraiser or something coming up with Silver Linings and Bloomington Hardware.
Yes.
So that would be
wonderful. And we want to thank Bloomington, because if we didn't have loyal customers, we wouldn't be there.
Yeah.
Period. Period.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining us. We will be back with another episode. You are at home in Bloomington.
Got a show idea? I'd love to hear it. And be sure to contact me for all your real estate needs and questions too. You can email me at deb@realrealestatetoday.com and follow me on Facebook at Deb Tomorrow Realtor. To contact Karen Rastel for all your mortgage needs, call 812-606-7653 or log on to ruoff.com and go to the Bloomington Center. Thanks to all the Bloomington people who make production of At Home in Bloomington possible. Special thanks to superstar producer Rachel G. Gregorio, digital guru Cynthia Hogan at Monster Digital Marketing for website design and hosting, and video genius Wes Lasher in the production house for engineering the show.